All right, everybody, thanks for coming out. We're glad to have everybody in the place to be. We're going to be joined by two of the best people in the music industry and been putting it down for 20 years. So without further ado, let's introduce Common and No I.D. All right, everybody, so thanks for coming out to the Grammy Pro Session. Common, how you doing tonight?
I'm great. Peace. What's up, y'all? Thank y'all for being here.
We have producer extraordinaire, label executive, and the creator of the first black album before Jay-Z, No I.D.
Peace, y'all.
We're excited here. Common's put out one of the best records of his career. With Nobody Smiling.
Thank you.
Yeah. So that's why we're here, to break down the album and get a couple questions from everybody at the end. So one thing I wanted to do right off the top, as we've been talking about, the album starts off with the neighborhood. And one of the things for people that have known and been studying Common for a long time is he's always mixed a lot of the political commentary in the streets, everything. But a lot of people also know him for his really big records. So with the neighborhood, I was very intrigued with kind of the double entendres as well as all the gang references right there in the first verse. So how and why did you decide to set the album off with the super street Chicago discussion in the lyrics?
Well, I felt that this album was a way for me to return home in many ways. And me talking about gangs was really that particular song in the neighborhood was talking about how we were raised, not only from a gang perspective, but just, shoot, I was able to like go to a private school. My mother worked hard, but it was gang banging still, like in the best of neighborhoods, it still was gang banging and drugs. So I just talked about like what I seen growing up and what I had been through. And I wanted to tell that perspective because I knew from when I was writing my verse, I wanted an artist, a newer artist, a younger artist to come on and tell their perspective of what they seen. And you know, because the gangs have changed. In fact, I would be talking to Dion about gangs. He'd be like, man, don't nobody use them names no more. It's new gangs, man. And so, you know, I just wanted to hear from the new generation, you know, because it is so much going on as far as Chicago gang culture, and it's a part of our life. I don't shy away from it. And when I did that, I wrote that, I knew that whatever artist I got, which I ended up getting Lil Herb, he could bring the perspective to let you know what the youth from Chicago and what they were going through. But one of the important things I wanted to show was that things hadn't changed that much. Like the struggles that I was talking about weren't too different from his struggles. And that's why, you know, I talked a little gang stuff.
And that definitely bridges the gap to start the album. And No Idea I wanted to get from your perspective because to Common's point, this is bridging the gap, and you have the Curtis Mayfield sample to start the album. So we're taking it from the soul. We got the gang banging, and we got the lyricism all on display with the several generations of Chicago rap. So sonically, what did Curtis Mayfield sample bring to that song?
Test. All right, cool. All right. Yeah, that. Well, you know, a lot of the album originated. You know, I think pretty much every record happened from a conversation that we had, and it was a continuous conversation. Every time we saw each other, it would be like, let's work. And anybody that knows me, when it's work time, I'm gonna talk. And you know, it's a reason, because I like to talk myself into a place that something happened. So we just kept talking. And once we embarked on this idea that, you know, would connect him to the youth and the problems in Chicago and the problems in, I would even say, you know, modern rap.
Right.
And just the effects it has that we ignore, you know, just in pursuit of money or whatever it is.
Right.
And just in a bad economy, you know, which a lot of people overlook. But I think that once we found that theme, it was just fitting because Curtis Mayfield, Chicago, a generation, Common, and what we went through at Chicago, and those little word samples in there that he was saying, it was like simple to see that it was a cycle, and the cycle was, we knew about the cycle because he said it, and then we say it, and then the next generation says it, and then pretty soon somebody breaks the cycle, which was the whole goal, is to just bring awareness to not just the problems, but the entangled web that's weaved, woven
potentially, maybe.
Yeah, woven web.
Yes.
So just that was it. It was literally a magic. And even the whole thing to me was like a labor of love project. It wasn't like money driven, or it was that spirit.
Well, it also this is something we should get to, because with the concept and the cover and everything, Nobody's Smiling. It's not a record that has a lot of overtly commercial type of sounds. And with the title track, I wanted to get into that right now, because with Common, I thought it was interesting, and I want you to explain for everybody when you say Stony Island, where the chief and the president come from, like explain to everybody that might not know what that means, why that's a significant lyric, and why that fits well on a title track.
Well, excuse me, Nobody's Smiling was like really the first thought, and it came from a conversation that we were having. It was me, Dion, and Mike Chavez down there, and Dion was mentioning, like, man, if you do a Common album, what's gonna make it special? Like, it's your 10th album. We didn't know what number it was, but we was just like, why do people want to hear a Common album? That was a real question that I had to think about too. And throughout our conversation, we started talking about some things that were purposeful, like what was going on in Chicago and what was going on in a lot of inner cities, but we were talking about our city. And he was mentioning something like, man, this is an opportunity for you to give back. And I was like, yes, that just the light went on for me, like, yes, I wanted to give back. So I had been affected I was around some kids from my program called Common Ground, and I had been around them, and I was hearing them talking all this new talk, but it reminded me of me, like just hearing them talk about thoughts. This was like a year and a half ago, talking about thoughts and stains, and stain mean robbing people. So I was just getting like, damn, it's all this new language, but they still just Chicago. I just felt close to them, and I knew I wanted to go back home. So when we started talking about the problems at home and started saying, man, not only are we gonna do a project like this, but we gonna go into the communities and start being active in the communities, it just brought a passion for me and a higher purpose. So when you hear me rapping on Nobody's Smiling, I'm really stepping in the shoes of somebody that's from Chicago. And I'm in that, just in the trenches, just on the blocks right now. And I'm talking about the chief. You probably think I'm talking about Chief Keef, but I'm talking.
I don't, but I know what it is.
Thank you. There you go. My man Soren know deep in the. I'm talking about somebody that in Chicago street organizations they call Chief Malik, who's also known as Jeff Fort. He was the head of the El Rookins, and was like an incredible, or is an incredible leader. But obviously, it was also a gang, so it became something, tough in the streets. But I'm talking about where Chief Malik is from, and also where the president is from. I'm saying how diverse our city is, because the truth of the matter is Chicago has produced some great human beings, artists, people that have affected the world in politics. It's been a hub for Oprah Winfrey and Michael Jordan and President Barack Obama. But, when it comes to music, we got Minnie Riperton, Shaka Khan, Curtis Mayfield, the list goes on. No I.D.,
There's a rapper, used to be named Common Sense. He's pretty good. Yes, he's decent, but I think that's also important, in all seriousness, that you have the song Rewind That also, because in this song we hear you going back and explaining a lot of your guys' origin and working together and not working together. But I also thought it was interesting that you position yourself as like the Chi-Town gangstar. So why was that something that you wanted to say, and why compare compare yourselves to them?
Well, Gangstar was like really pure when it comes to hip hop, and this Premier still is. He came, I seen him just over the weekend, and he came bringing some beats, and you know, he's just true to hip hop. Gangstar's true to hip hop, and I know that myself and Dion's passion was in hip hop. You know, we love music, but the hip hop culture is what really like embraced us, and that's what we expressed. So it was like, and you know, we started with me, Dion, and my man Tone is here, also known as Twilight Tone. And then and when I say it was, you know, we became like Chi-Town's Gangstar, that was because Dion started making a lot of the beats, and then it was just, people always be like, they would say Slope, that was one of his nicknames. They be like, you gotta have some Slope beats. And I'm like, yeah, we got Slope beats. So anyway, that's why we was thinking I was